What's going on, guys? JSGC here, and we are here for another Manchester City transfer video. This time we are going to be looking at 10 players Manchester City could target in the summer 2019 window. And so we're going to crack on with this video. This is in no particular order. We're just going to look at 10 players, discuss the chances that Manchester City have of signing these players, then move on to the next one. So we're going to start off first by talking about Tanguy and Ndombele, the 22-year-old French defensive midfielder who plays for Lyon, a powerhouse who, in my opinion, Manchester City should seriously be looking at. Apparently he's available. We're looking at around £60 million there or thereabouts. However, there is a lot of interest coming in from Juventus in particular. Manchester United and Real Madrid are also interested too, and because of this, I highly doubt that Manchester City would go into a transfer battle with any of these teams and know that the fee would go up astronomically, and they're not willing to do that. City like to be nice and quick about their negotiations. Should teams come in and make an offer, Man City tend to walk away because they don't want the fee going too high. They know that if they pay the price high once, they're going to have to do it every time, and because of this, just a 5 out of 10 chance of happening in my opinion. If there was no interest and City was seriously interested, I'd have that at about an 8 or a 9 out of 10. Now we're going to move on to a player that in my opinion is a little bit more likely, and we're going to be talking Rodri, the 22-year-old Spanish midfielder who plays for Atletico Madrid. Now he's another player that apparently is available for around £60 million there or thereabouts. Apparently that £60 million is his release clause at Atletico Madrid. He's not willing to sign a new deal, and so should City activate that release clause, City would then be free to talk to him and negotiate the transfer with him, whilst not having much negotiations with Atletico Madrid. We did something similar with Aymeric Laporte and Bilbao, if you remember, back last January, not the January previously, but the one previous to that one. Now, I'm not too sure about this transfer or not. I'm not too sure whether this is our Fernandinho long-term replacement or whether we're looking at this potentially being our replacement for Ilkay Gundogan. Now, if you're not aware, Ilkay Gundogan still hasn't signed a new deal. He's got roughly 12 months, 13 months as of now, it's May, but 12 months as of next month left on his deal, and with him not willing to sign a new deal at Manchester City, City will actively seek to sell him in the summer if he doesn't sign, and so we might be needing a situation where we need a holding midfielder and a Gundogan replacement, and I'm not too sure if Rodri is going to be our holding midfielder Fernandinho long-term replacement or whether it's going to be the Gundogan replacement. I'm not too sure, but Rodri is 6'3", is a little bit lanky, but he has improved on his physicality over the last year or so since signing for Atletico Madrid. And so he reminds me a little bit of Sergio Busquets at Barcelona. Now, Pep, whilst he was at Barcelona, Busquets was quite key to his midfield. He was a player, well, everything went around him. Everything in the build-up play from Barcelona, from defence through to midfield, that key role was Busquets. And City haven't really got that. They've got a great holding midfielder in Fernandinho that's absolutely brilliant at tackling, reading the game and being versatile. However, he's not really got that oomph that Busquets had at Barcelona at being able to build up the play from the back. And something that Man City have tried to do with Ilkay Gundogan, and it's not Gundogan's most natural of positions, but it's something that this season he has improved on, and it's worked for Manchester City, and so City might be seeing potentially Rodri as being that player that could do that. Now, if City are interested, then I imagine it'll be extremely serious, the interest. I know that Manchester City are currently looking at other midfielders, and so the Rodri transfer has kind of been put in the last week or two to the back burner for now. However, I still feel like this is a highly likely transfer. I just feel like City are trying to move in the market quicker because there's clubs interested in other players that Man City are also seriously interested in. So, in my opinion, an 8 out of 10 chance of this happening. It's not one of those that will be done very quickly into the summer, though. I feel like this is one that will probably develop with legs as the summer goes on. There isn't a lot of interest in Rodri at the moment. Only other club that I've seen when I've been doing my research has been Wolves. Wolves looking to try and be nice and ambitious there by trying to battle Manchester City. Just like City, though, Wolves are going to have to match the £60 million release clause should they want him. Next player we're going to be talking about is Ben Chilwell, 22-year-old English left-back playing for Leicester City. He's a pretty complete left-back. He's good at defending. He's good going forward too. He's a typical English, left-back in my opinion. He's a player that likes to get forward, put balls in. He also likes to hold his position. He's one of them players that would probably suit Manchester City as a backup, in my opinion. He isn't as direct, if you get where I'm coming from, like what Benjamin Mendy and Robertson are with City and Liverpool. These are players that are incredibly accurate with the crosses, that pick up numerous amounts of assists, and it'd be scary how many assists Benjamin Mendy, if he was to keep fit for a whole season and play 38 Premier League games, if he could do that, it'd be scary to see just how good he would be. And Ben Chilwell, no offence, isn't anywhere near that level, and he isn't that type of player either. He's something different. He's something that Manchester City might see as a more stable left back. However, 60 to 70 million pounds has been quoted to try and sign him. That isn't cheap for a player that potentially won't be first choice should the whole squad be fit. And so I don't see Manchester City going along them routes. And he's the only left-back, really, that Man City have been strongly linked with over the last couple of weeks or so in terms of left-backs. And just this week, City apparently made a statement saying that they don't want to sign a left-back. Left-back is the least of their priorities this summer. And Manchester City are happy to go with Zinchenko at left-back and also give Benjamin Mendy another season to see if he can improve on his fitness, which is a problem should Zinchenko pick up an injury, because we can't rely on Benjamin Mendy either. And we're in a situation where, honestly, we're in a bad situation. Where do we go from there? I'm not too sure, but as far as I'm concerned, City aren't actively looking at a left back just yet. That could change, and so at this moment in time, I put this as a 2 out of 10. Mainly because City aren't looking at a left back just yet, and the price suggested just is too high. Now, a player we might be looking at is Aaron Wan-Bissaka, 21-year-old English right back, Crystal Palace. Demand is high for Aaron this summer, and should any Premier League giants go in for a right back, he'll be right up at the top of that list. Now, with Danilo seemingly on his way out, is Wan-Bissaka going to be the answer with Manchester City? Well, I'm not too sure. Just like Ben Chilwell, there's going to be demand there. The fee's going to be high. Manchester City don't tend to pay these fees. I've seen us do it with Kyle Walker. We looked at £50 million, but we're looking at potentially even more money than that. And because of that, I don't see Manchester City going for it, in my opinion, and I'm certain Aaron Wan-Bissaka will probably leave Crystal Palace this summer. I'm not too sure that it'll be for Manchester City, though, just purely because the fee is so high. It's a position that Manchester City want to be able to deal with the Danilo situation by signing someone of a cheaper alternative. So, should we not sign anyone or get linked with anyone, I put it as a 3 out of 10, because that interest will, as the summer goes on, go up. However, City have been linked with Kenny Lala, and this to me is Manchester City's ready-made Danilo replacement. Now, with Danilo off to Inter Milan, apparently that's very close, by the way. I'll give more updates on that in my transfer update when I do it. But with him apparently off to Inter Milan, Manchester City are looking for a cheap backup at right back for Kyle Walker, and apparently Kenny Lala, available for around £8 to £12 million, is the perfect man for the job. 27-year-old French right back, currently playing for Strasbourg. Strasbourg, I don't think, are doing very well in France this season. However, he has had a very impressive season and been one of their standout players. At 27, it's not normally what Manchester City would go for in a player. We normally look for younger players, or looking at players aged somewhere between 18 and probably 23, 24 is what we normally look for. But with him being more basically experienced at 27 years old, it's a cheaper alternative and a position that Man City could use the money elsewhere. So we might be looking at defensive midfielders, possibly a centre-back, possibly even an attacker too, possibly a left-back as the summer goes on. I don't know, but Manchester City seeing this as a situation where they could tie over the Danilo transfer, be able to make a little bit of money too, and have that problem solved with very little headache. Apparently Newcastle are also interested too, and if the rumours are to be believed, then this is an incredibly strong chance of happening. And that's a big if Danilo does leave, in my opinion, I'm almost certain that Kenny Lala will be the player that Manchester City will sign. They're putting the we're putting the transfer in place at this moment in time as we're talking. In my opinion, a 9 out of 10 chance of probably happening. Love to know your thoughts of that in the comments below. Now, City haven't been linked with many centre-backs. However, we have been linked with Harry Maguire, 26-year-old English centre-back for Leicester City, with Manchester City needing a de-lit alternative as he looks set for Barcelona. Hence, he's not on this list, otherwise he'd be right at the top as a high priority. But if we're looking at a centre-back with Otamendi apparently close to leaving Manchester City too, we need a centre-back. Is Harry Maguire that man? Well, he's tall, he's powerful, reads the game well, he's Premier League experience too. The only problem he got is his transfer fee will be incredibly high. I've seen Leicester quoted 80-90 million pounds, which is just absolutely ludicrous. But with interest coming in from clubs like Arsenal and Manchester United, they might be willing to pay that price, and City certainly won't be. But if there's room to negotiate and Leicester are willing to negotiate, like they were with Riyad Mahrez, then this transfer could happen. As far as I'm concerned, though, whilst that fee's that high, City probably won't be too interested, so I'll put this as a 3 out of 10. Interesting to know, Eric Garcia will be promoted to the Manchester City first team as of next season. Now, next player that we've been linked with and could well happen is Saul Niguez. Now, interest has cooled on him. Apparently, interest has also cooled on Declan Rice. Hence, I've not really spoke about it much in my transfer window updates, but with interest getting higher with players like Bruno Fernandez and Rodri, we haven't really heard much of Saul. But should either of these transfers not happen and Gundogan was to leave and Man City need a central midfielder, there's always good to have alternatives there, and Saul is a Manchester City alternative. Don't get me wrong, I think he's a wonderful player. I just think City are prioritising other players, but he is certainly an option should we not sign other players. Now, Atletico Madrid, I know, and they look to try and make some money by selling some of their players, so including Rodri in that. Saul may also leave too. There is an alternative there for Manchester City to be able to sign these players, and just like with Rodri, we're probably going to have to meet the release clause. I'm not too sure what the release clause is for Saul, but we have been linked with a move. Again, I've heard £60 million. Manchester United, just like every other Manchester City transfer, have also been linked to. He's a 24-year-old Spanish 6-foot midfielder. Should Man City not sign Bruno Fernandez or miss out on him, or our interest cools on Rodri, I put this as a 4 out of 10, but it will go up should we cool our interest in any of the midfielders. He is an alternative for Manchester City, though. Now, next up is an attacker, Luka Jovic, 21-year-old Bosnian striker, currently on loan at Eintracht Frankfurt from Benfica. They've got the option to sign him permanently. I think it's for as little as less than £6 million, which I'm certain that Frankfurt will opt for. And now there's a choice here. Now, will Frankfurt keep him? He's had an incredibly impressive season, or will they cash in? They know that they could make a lot of money on him. He's been excellent this season for Frankfurt, one of the Bundesliga top goal scorers, had an impressive campaign for Frankfurt in the Europa League too, and should Manchester City want a striker, he may well be the option. However, with Aguero and Jesus looking like they're not going to be leaving Man City anytime soon, we haven't really got a position for a 21-year-old striker that's going through his prime right now to fit into our squad, and so therefore, in my opinion, a 1 out of 10 chance of happening. However, Real Madrid are being heavily linked with him, and it wouldn't surprise me should he head there. Keep an eye on that transfer fee for that one. But at the moment, if City did want a striker, he'd be right up there at the top of the list, but I have a feeling that we don't, and so he isn't. Next up, we're going to talk Joao Felix. Now, he's another attacking player. He isn't a striker, though. He's a winger. He's a young winger. He's full of potential. 19 years old, Portuguese, plays for Benfica. Had a good season this season with Benfica too. Really coming to his own. However, he comes with a huge price tag, and therefore I feel like Manchester City aren't going to be that interested. €120 million, so we're looking at roughly around £110 million. Now, there probably is room for negotiation there. I do imagine they'll probably want somewhere between 80 and £100 million when you've got a young winger that's being impressive, and there's demand there. There's clubs being linked. Manchester United are being heavily linked with him, and I mean heavily linked. Apparently they're closing in on signing him. When that's there, the demand's there, the fee's going to go up. I don't imagine City are interested. But if United do sign him, does that mean they're going to cool their interest in Jadon Sancho? City have also been linked with him. I'm not too sure. A City looking at a winger, in my opinion, it's a position we don't really need. And considering we're saying we don't need a left-back, I consider a left-back as more of a formality and more importance than signing an attacker, which, in my opinion, will score the record amount of goals this season. Our attackers aren't exactly old players either. I don't feel like it's a position that we really need to be filling or spending so much money on in this transfer window as of yet. A 1 out of 10 chance of happening. Now, last but not least, I've already mentioned this player. I'm going for Bruno Fernandez. He's another player that's been heavily linked with Manchester United too. United have been linked with £150 million double swoop with Bruno Fernandez and Joao Felix. However, Manchester City, according to Portuguese sources, are ahead of United in the queue, and they're closing in on signing him. According to English sources, though, it's the opposite. Manchester United are closing in on signing him. So which do you believe? If the rumours are to be believed, Manchester City have already met with Sporting Lisbon's director of football. They've already put negotiations in place. They're trying to sign him to agree a fee. Manchester City, apparently the fee's the only stumbling block. They want around £90 million, which is the release clause. However, they're in a bit of financial difficulty at the moment, Sporting Lisbon, and there's room for negotiation, and that's what Manchester City are trying to discuss now. It's like a potential Bernardo Silva again, where City are just trying to sneak in front of United and get the transfer over the line. He's a 24-year-old Portuguese midfielder who, in my opinion, could sign for Man City. It could be Man United. So I've given it a 5 or a 6 out of 10 chance. I imagine we'll get more clarity in the next couple of weeks should anything materialise. But he's a player that should Manchester City seem to be prioritising, and so should Manchester City want him, then we'll probably get him. However, if we cool our interest and turn our attention to Rodri or Saul, for example, then he'll probably end up going to Manchester United. At the moment, we're at a tug of war with Man United. It's one of those that the interest could easily warm up or cool down very quickly, and at the moment in time, I'm not too sure where we stand, so it's only a 5 or a 6 out of 10. We'll have a better idea maybe in a week or two's time, so keep an eye out for my transfer updates. So there we go, that's 10 players that I think Manchester City may target this summer. If there's any players you think Man City should be targeting, then please let me know in the comments below, and I'll see if I can do a video on a couple of them too, actually, if you're interested. So let me know if that is something you are interested in. Let me know in the comments below. If you enjoyed this video, make sure you slap a like on this video so I know you enjoyed this video. If you are new around here and you're enjoying the content, please help support my channel and subscribe. Press the red button and press the bell too. Put your push notifications on to be notified immediately when I have uploaded, so you know, and you can keep up to date with all things Manchester City and all things Manchester City transfer news, and so you can be kept up to date as quickly as possible. Don't forget, you can also check out my social media in description below and popping up on screen, my Twitter and Instagram. If you want to go and check them out and follow me on there, then that'd be much appreciated. I'll keep you up to date with all things transfers on my Twitter, so it is worthwhile. Go and follow me on there, and I'll see you all again for the next video. Something new, wanted to do this video, been requested, so I've done this video. So I hope you enjoyed it. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you all again for the next video. So it's been JSGC. I hope you all have a wonderful rest of your day. Peace. Ciao for now.